Hi and welcome back to the best thing you watched. We got Chris from Movies and Munchies and Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. Yes, we're still on our own channels. If you're the first time here, we talk about movies, TV, entertainment news in our audio exclusive podcast section. This week, we're also doing a review like we have been just exclusively for the podcast section. And I believe we're going to be talking about Willow. Which will be an interesting one to talk about. And then our entertainment news, I've got some stuff to talk about there as well, which I think this week has been an interesting one for entertainment news, that's for sure. Our Patreon, we're going to be talking about what, Chris?
Is this week the from the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special? Yeah.
We're going to be talking about how that ties into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as well. So if you want to support us or you like those topics, we have really interesting content where I think we're getting better at the Patreon stuff. I think it's more interesting. We've gotten into a flow. At least our Patreons that are there with us have said it's good. So thank you for supporting us so much. But what we do when we start the best thing that we watch this week is we do a movie quiz. And generally, I do them, but last week Chris started and really threw us for a wobbly because they weren't easy. They weren't easy, Chris.
I thought maybe they might be a little bit. I don't know. It's certainly easier on this side of the screen. Let me tell you that. Yeah. To be the one doing the quotes versus having to guess them, it's a lot easier and better.
I know. I miss it. So we need to talk about who won. Did anybody win on your side?
No, nobody won on mine. No.
Well, on mine, there was a Push Pavil, and excuse me if I'm getting the name wrong, but I even corrected Push Pavil in the comments saying, no, it's Encino Man or California Man. But what are the answers, Chris?
The answers are Son-in-Law, Saving Silverman, and The Hunt for Red October.
I think I got Hunt for Red October.
Nice.
That was it. Nice. But yeah, Push Pavel, congratulations. You got it. We're going to continue on this trend, and Chris is going to do the movie questions.
Until he gets fired.
Until I'm like, no, I don't like it. Let me go back.
Okay. So these... just a caveat. These are not obscure movies. The quotes might be a little obscure, but the movies themselves are not obscure. These are
that almost
rather
makes it worse because you feel like because you like the movie,
you should get it.
You should,
yeah. But see, I think out of context, that's what makes it so hard. You know. So okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
First one. No. Yeah. I think you've still got lightning in you.
Okay, it could be a number of films. All right.
Yeah. All right. Number 2. Sometimes the only way to heal our wounds is to make peace with the demons who created them.
I feel like that's a Western, but I have no clue what that is. Not a Western. All right. Yeah. No idea.
No? Okay.
It's great.
Okay.
It's great. Great line, though. I like it.
I think you're going to get this one. I think this next one you'll get.
Don't do that.
Okay, because I think it's gonna go like, you may not get it, but you'll know it. You'll recognize it.
Okay.
You lost today, kid, but that doesn't mean you have to like it.
Oh. Okay. I mean, I feel like you did a voice there as well. Did you try to?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, maybe. I might have it. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what they are. If you maybe you were like, yeah, this week's my week. You're just in your brain, you're like, I got them. And we will shout out your name. Thank you for those that are trying. Sorry for Chris's really difficult, hard ones. Let me know in the comments if you want me back. I totally understand if you do.
If Chris is fired, that's okay. I can take it.
No, it's fine. You're making me think, Chris. I don't like it.
I know. No, I know. Oh, goodness. All right.
But I do have an interactive question for us today. And this is for everybody watching as well. Okay, so we're in the world of Harry Potter. It's great.
Love that already.
I like that already.
Yes.
You, and do this as well in the comments. Everybody choose a character. Chris, choose a character. You get to be any character. Just one. Caveat.
From the movies or the books?
From the movies or the books. Do whatever you like in that universe.
Okay.
I'll choose a character and you can choose a character. The caveat is we get to choose. We get to choose. So you're going to choose someone that has like powers, or is this a particular strong? Maybe you choose Dobby, but I'm going to choose how Dobby uses his powers, or every time he does a spell, this happens.
Okay.
Like I said, I will. You choose one, and then I'll give you an example. Okay.
Okay. Lupin.
So Lupin turns into a werewolf. So every time he turns into a werewolf, he poos consistently.
just like free flowing.
Just like I will.
Okay.
Okay. So who do you choose? Was that your choice? Or was that the example? That was your choice.
No, that was my choice, yeah.
Okay. I choose the snake. Oh, what's the snake's name?
Oh,
Nitiri. No.
See, Nitiri. Isn't that Avatar?
That's like Avatar, yeah. Harry Potter snake. Let's go Google. Harry. I hate this. It's like one of my favorite characters. Harry Potter snake.
I know. What isn't it?
Name.
It is.
Nagini. See, it was close.
That's it.
Nagini. Okay. And you have to. So every time so the thing I like to do is attack people and eat them. So what?
Yes.
You can choose what happens to me.
You have uncontrollable hiccups.
Brilliant. Snake goes to dislocate jaw to eat, and it's like, oh. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you guys that you're watching, choose a character that you love, and Chris and I will give you a terrible thing that like negates your power almost. For example, if you chose Dobby, every time he apparates somewhere, it's always to the wrong place. So he tries to go
I think that would be like Ron.
Ron and his broken wand. Brilliant. I'm slugs. So gross. Always makes me feel ill, that bit.
Oh, yeah, totally. Nice.
Fun. Okay.
I love that.
An interactive one. I'm interested to see what people are going to put as their characters, and we're going to have a lot of fun with what we make their characters do.
Yes. Well, and you could also comment on other people's of what that
do
might
that.
do.
Everybody, that'll be really fun. Yeah. I like
Keep
that.
it nice. I mean, cordial and stuff, but it doesn't have to be PG rated. Oh, man. All right. Should we dive in? Okay. I don't know about you. My week has been a tough week. I've watched a crap ton of stuff. And I still have a crap ton of reviews to do. So some of the things I'm going to talk about today, I haven't even done reviews yet for them.
Oh wow!
At least
exclusives on the podcast. Nice.
Well, at least while we're recording, yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Yeah, it just depends on how my schedule works out. But,
yeah, true.
How about you? Has your week been a good week?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched so much. I would say it's not. I don't think it's as bad as yours. A bit of like half and half, like half kind of average. No real poo. Just like average, and then some that's good enough to put on the best thing we watched. But had it been other weeks, it's like if it was like the Netflix series, that we just watched, 1899, that would be it, or whatever. Yeah. So
I think it's relative,
out
right?
of exactly. It's out of the stuff that we've seen. This is the best thing that we've watched. Not necessarily brilliant. Yeah.
Correct. That is a perfect description for that. Oh, you want to start?
Right. Yeah, sure. I'll just jump into. It feel like that every week. Oh, my camera disappeared.
No, I see you.
Are you seeing me?
I see you, yes.
It's like Avatar. I see you. I see you. That's all I remember from the Avatar trailer. Does anybody remember their names? I remember Jake Sully and Neytiri.
Not
That's
Nagini.
it. Not Nagini. No. Any other names you remember?
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
Definitely going to make over 2 billion.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Anyway, it feels like Ruben is getting back into his game reviews because like a couple of weeks I've been doing like jumping into a game. Last week or the week before I talked about Evil West, which I'd started and I finished, and I continued to say, yeah, that was great. I loved every second. This week I'm talking about is it
Calisto
backwards?
Protocol? No,
Yeah,
not
Callisto.
for me. It's not.
Oh, okay,
Callisto
cool.
Protocol. Okay.
Callisto Protocol. So if you look that up on IMDb, Chris, the Callisto Protocol, a crashed cargo pilot struggles to survive against horrific mutating prisoners on Jupiter's moon. From, I believe it's some of the guys that did Dead Space. If you know Dead Space, you know it's one of the scariest games, and I know they're remaking the first Dead Space. Josh Duhamel is the voice of Jacob Lee. I would say he's not just the voice, he's also the actor, because it's some of the best motion capture I've ever seen. Never mind like film, but just it looks like Josh. You can go to the Ruby Tuesday Twitch. I've been streaming my gaming content just for people to check it out. Whenever it's a new game, it's nice to kind of stream some of that to see whether it's something you want to spend, because it's a AAA game, whether you want to spend your money on it. So this is classic space horror. Third-person shooter, over the shoulder, a little bit too close for comfort, done on purpose because you kind of want to step back from the character as the monsters attack him, but you don't get that. They don't allow you that space. Often things like you're coming off a ladder and the camera it's like almost like a cut scene as you're coming off the ladder, so you have no control, so the camera takes a long time to center you. And I'm like, I just want to see what's behind the corner, goddammit. And it's like frustratingly slow in that moment. You get very limited ammo depending on your levels of difficulty, health, everything you have to use sparingly. It rewards pickups or exploration, but it also doesn't. Like the last loot box I looted, a big slug jumped out at my neck and sucked my blood, and my health went like halfway down. I was like, are you kidding me? Loot boxes aren't even safe. Dark Souls has a thing where you kick a loot box, or you open a loot box, and it becomes this giant thing with arms. And yeah, I should know better. You are this character. You've crash landed, and you need to escape this planet that seems to, this jail really, that seems to be infested with these mutant humanoid type freaks. But there's variations on there. You have a guy that's willing to help you. You are the pilot, so it's in his best interest to help you survive, to help you get off planet. You're trying to work your way to the airport hangar. And it's like this long A to B, and along the ways you're going to go down, up, left, right, because there's doors that are locked. Very close quarters. Think Aliens. And then the look of it looks spectacular like Aliens. Again, it's got that green, dark, black hue, xenomorph style. It's scary, and it's jump scary. But it's not always scary because, like my son said when he was watching, some of the horror action games, you don't get as scared as much because you are interacting. You get to beat the things. You basically mush them. You hit them and their limbs fly off, and then you make sure that they stay down, right? And so that gets, I think you get a tolerance level of I'm not so scared anymore until they start doing different things with the monsters. This is one thing that's got a fantastically long neck. And it's like from the other side of the room, and its face just comes at you and then latches itself onto your neck. And it's dragging you towards its body. That's like a clump slug thing. And you're stabbing at it, trying to get it off you. And I'm furiously tapping and I'm like, and my wife is just laughing hysterically because she's not watching the screen. She's on her iPad, but every now and again there'll be a jump scare and she'll just giggle because I'll be like, yeah, like son Stop it. It's so atmospheric, which is great, and Josh Duhamel has done a fantastic job, like allowing you to see or be through, his character's body shape. It was not quite his eyes, but yeah, it's his body.
Yeah.
And every time you die, and you will die a lot, you feel it because there's various different deaths, and it just hurts your soul. Like sometimes a character will put their fingers in your eyes and just squish your head like a Game of Thrones style, or a monster will take your neck and just snap it, or a Terminator, because there's security, so Terminator robots that are around will just like stamp on your arm, which will be then severed, and then it will go, I have stopped this, blah, 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 now to like blah, 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 and then we'll just squish your head into oblivion. Like, done. One stop. And it's like, damn, not only am I fighting monsters, but the robots here are freaking terrifying because there's no reasoning with them. Their protocols are all broken, and all prisoners now are looking at like, whether you're infected with the disease or not, it's just like, we need to take care of the disease. I will be back for you, and then you die. Yeah, exactly. So if you like,
that's it.
Exterminate, yeah. So if you like your space horror genre, like Event Horizon, and you want to play the character that's in that moment, like if you thought Event Horizon was scary, and it is, then you get to be those characters. So it puts you so much more immersive. If you're playing on the PS5, you can triple down on how scary it is, because these headsets are 3D audio. So the sound is like, you hear the voices before you see them, right?
Nice.
And it just kind of flows around that side. And then the controller has a speaker in it. And so the guy that is helping you, his audio comes through the speaker rather than the TV. So he's right there with you. So if he's screaming, you're like freaked out, like, hurry, help me. They just added the levels of what's scary and to add the atmosphere. I do have a little bit of a drawback. The controls in the game is a bit janky. So that like, there are moments where your character will be forced into a situation or would do something that is a cutscene sort of thing. So every time you encounter a Terminator robot, you can be running and he'll shoot you. So you think, well, I might take one bullet, but I might still survive the encounter. But every time it locks you into a cutscene and it goes, gah, and you're dead. Which is annoying because all the other times you're fighting characters and you have control over the character, you get hit, and you get hit too many times, you get eaten or dismembered. That's what's going to happen. I do feel like it's a short game. It's also quite linear, which I like. I don't want an open world for this. The claustrophobic centered is great. I feel like I'm almost halfway and I've done about 4 or 5 hours. So probably
relatively short game then.
Yeah, like a 15 to 20 hour if you do all the collection, which is standard for a AAA kind of story game, The Last of Us, that sort of thing. Lot of fun. Not for everybody, not for youngsters. That will give them nightmares. And for people with weak hearts, probably not for you either. My only drawback is that I don't know if I knew how janky it was, whether I would have paid full price for it. I probably maybe would have waited for a little bit of a sale. So I still would rate it quite highly, like 4 Nicolas Cages out of 5. But because the control sometimes seems to be a bit janky, it sometimes you don't quite know where you're going. You got to work it out, which is fine. It's a horror game, so that makes it scarier. But I've just seen a few people's comments like that. They had issue with that. Me, not so much. The only thing is that, like I mentioned, the jankiness of like you wanting to control certain moments that you can't. Other than that, it's exactly like Dead Space for me, which is a plus. Yeah.
Nice. Did it just come out?
Literally on Friday. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so you've only been playing it for a day.
5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Sweet. Right on. So the first thing that I want to talk about is actually a surprise for me that it's on my list. It's on Netflix and it's Firefly Lane. Have you seen this series?
No, I watched the first episode of the first season and I was like, that's not for me.
Yeah, it's Sarah Chalke and Katherine Heigl.
Great cast. Yeah.
And yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Dead to Me, where you have two women best friends who kind of have a dysfunctional relationship, and we just kind of watch their life play out. And this is season 2 dropped on Friday, December 2nd.
Yeah.
But it's only part 1 of season 2. And part 2 of season 2 is coming out sometime in 2023. And I don't really understand that. I don't know. I mean, it was 9 episodes.
Oh, that's still like a full season.
Exactly. So I don't know how many episodes are going to be in part 2, but it feels like you should have just made that season 2 and then bring out season 3, in 6 months or something like that and call it good.
Yeah.
The reason I became really invested in it, I think, is because of the relationships. They are dysfunctional, but it is the characters not only, so we have flashbacks, a lot of flashbacks. It takes place in really like 3 time periods following the same characters. And they become enveloping to watch. Because we get to know them over so much time, even though we're seeing them in these chunks of time, their ins and outs. And even if you don't like personality traits, it's what makes this person. And then how do they interact with the other one? And so you have Tully and Kate, and those two, they clash often, but are still like the best of friends also. And so anytime there is conflict, you're really wanting them to resolve that. And season 1 ended with Kate telling Tully, I never want to see you or speak to you again.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we don't know why. And so only like towards the latter half of this second season, this first part of second season, do we even understand how that comes about?
Oh, gosh,
and so they really eke that out, and they show you like, oh, well, I think it might be this.
Sounds drawn out.
It is, but it's not. Like because the story is developing and the way that it's told, it feels okay that it takes that long, like that you don't have the payoff immediately, because it really ramps up the drama as we lead towards the event that had that interaction there. The thing that I think is difficult for this series, though, is because it's told in 3 different time periods, there is a lot of back and forth. Okay. And while you can tell, like, one is the 70s, the late 70s, one is the late 80s, and then one is the late 90s. So you can tell by the way the characters look, by their hairstyles and stuff, what time period we're in. So it's not difficult that way. It's just there's literally like a lot of jumping back and forth. But there will also be, you will see some events play out, and then it'll be like 3 weeks later. And then but then we won't revisit that time for quite a while. You know what I mean? So even though we're in the present, like at least the most present, and then it's 3 weeks later, from there, it's kind of like I'm trying to figure out where I am. And so I always found myself a little bit struggling of like, okay, where are we at? Are we 6 months from where I guess it's present time. So we'll just, whatever. Okay. That's all I need to really know,
But it's on the best thing you watch, Chris.
It is, yeah. And so despite that difficulty sometimes of like the back and forth and everything, I mean, it really is. I was drawn into the drama. And by the end of it, I mean, it's emotional. It's like, even though there's like predictable moments to it, and I'm not sure I like all of the character decisions either. But that's showing me how much I'm invested within this, and how much like they're, you know what I mean, that I'm connecting with the characters, whether I like them or not, I'm having a reaction to them and with them. And so that, it's, I mean, like I said, it's 9 episodes. Each of the episodes are 45-ish minutes, maybe closer to an hour.
Fairly long investment as well. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So, but if you enjoyed the first season, then the second season just builds on that. and and continues the intensity and the dramatic elements within there, and all the emotional ties and ups and downs that go in there. And it shows you how, I mean, it's really character growth is what you're watching. You're watching this, or a character study maybe, of how these people grow and change based on not only their relationship with each other, but then the relationships that we see through them. Like Tully's mom, we see her, she's not a great mom at all, especially at the beginning. In the 70s, she's just drugged out hippie, just like not even present for her daughter. And what that does to their relationship into the present, even though we see character growth and we see character change, there's all that baggage there, and that affects that. So it's complex and very engaging at the same time. And I was actually a little bit upset with myself that I got so engaged with it, because I didn't really want to be. And by the end of it, I was like, just hooked in, so.
Nice. I like Katherine Heigl, not always, but like in most things she does, I enjoy her performances. The first episode that I watched really came across like a family drama soap. So maybe that's not the case.
It does have a little bit of a soapy feel to it. Yeah. I mean, it's very dramatic at spots. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? And so it could be, especially depending on your mindset or your mood, if you're not in the mood to have this heavy drama or these, these emotional outbursts and stuff like that, then that's not the show to put on.
Yeah, if you're in the mood for like Marvel explosions, probably not.
Correct.
But we do go through moods. So sometimes you just want to hunker down with like a drama and get involved in it, and you don't have to be a part of it, but you can sit with your tea and your biscuits and dunk, and you're like, can't believe she said that. Like, oh no, she didn't.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of those.
Nice. All right. I'd like to talk spoilers on this one if we can, but maybe we'll just talk about the film. So probably one of the best films I've seen all year, just for enjoyment. Violent Night. Good Lord, how much fun did I have with this movie? David Harbour. So here's the thing. I hadn't seen a trailer. I'd seen the poster. So when I saw David Harbour in the suit, and I presume everybody knows now that it's the Santa story. But when I saw him in the suit and then he did the thing, I was like, holy crap, he's Santa. I was even like, woohoo, this is going to be a weird film. It is Die Hard, but it's not. It's more Die Hard 2 and Home Alone.
Yes.
And I'm here for it. I want a prequel. I want a sequel. I want all of the Santa movies. Every time he finds himself in a different house protecting another little girl, I want it, damn it. Especially for those killed, and the juxtaposition of the great score with the jingles and stab. So much fun. I mean, who knew you could use Santa's powers in that way? That's all I'm saying.
Oh gosh. Well, and I'm glad that it lived up to its name of Violent Night, because when they showed the violence, it got violent.
Oh yeah, it was glorious. I was like a little kid. I was like, do it. Yes. Woohoo, he did. And then I was like, oh, that was worse than I thought.
Oh goodness. It was fun. Yeah,
it was really fun. I don't know what else to say about it. I can say there was lore in this that I wasn't expecting, and at that point I was invested emotionally into the character. I was invested into the fun of the film, but when they showed the lore and the reason as to the Santa and how the why, I was like, all right, like you had me at this, but now you have my attention.
Well, and I want so much more of that. That backstory,
that was cool.
Because I honestly thought, because we I don't know, maybe we could talk spoilers, because I'm not sure how to say the next part without it being kind of a spoiler.
Spoilers.
Okay, so when we learn that David Harbour was a Viking and he was not a good guy, I mean, that's what he talks about, how he was not a good guy, and yet then he became Santa. I thought there was a moment at the end where he was dying, that John Leguizamo was going to become Santa.
Oh, right. That would have been cool.
Because
nice
he's
idea.
a bad, the kill of John Leguizamo, though, was,
he's a warrior bad guy as well, similar to,
Exactly, yeah. And because he hated Christmas so much, you know what I mean? Like, this is his, that. But then it doesn't give a redemption arc. It just pulls him through the chimney. Oh,
holy crap. That was grim, and it was amazing.
It was oh my gosh, it was so good. Yeah.
I was like, is he actually he's gonna do it.
Yeah. Oh,
there were little bits that David Harbour just nailed that just made me beam with a smile. The talking with the little girl, like really connecting emotionally with her. Like I felt like he was like the daddy Santa almost in that. It was great. The moments when he's like chucking a grenade down the guy's pants and he's walking away, it's like, I've got to watch. I got it.
Did he look at the camera at that point? It felt like he looked at the camera just for
a split second.
A split second there, yeah. And which was weird and great all at the same time.
Yeah, there's moments like that. And the moment when the young girl gives him permission to be his Viking self in order to protect Christmas and the family. And then he's swinging around that mallet like it's his weapon. And then we see the weapon at the end with like Mrs. Claus, like you might have need the spare sack. And so the Rudolph obviously went back, told Mrs. Claus everything that's going on somehow. They got the spare sack and she put the mallet on just in case he needed. And I was like,
see, more of what
that.
We want. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Well, and I loved the Home Alone moments. I mean, the little girl just stole my heart first off because she was just so earnest and cute. But then,
but it also fixed the answer. Yes, Home Alone wouldn't really work when they pull out a gun. And I was like, I love that. So we had our fun. She actually did take out one of them accidentally, which is brilliant. And then the guy pulls out a gun, and then he steps in with his mallet. And I was like, that's good. You're dead, internal bleeding and everything. Yeah. But the connection of that. So like, yeah, just in case you guys wanted to know, yeah, it wouldn't really work if they pulled out, handgun. But have this fun.
Yeah, well, her using the little slingshot type of thing to throw things. Like the first couple of things made sense, but then the whole dumbbell flying up.
How would that even work? I don't think the sling would throw that, but yeah.
I didn't care. It didn't matter to me. I mean, I was laughing at that point because you got the dude stuck on his.
Why was he holding the nail? Why was he looking at it?
Why was he looking at the nail? Like, yeah, I don't. Well, the second that he picks that up,
he did that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, well, that's gonna end poorly for you. You're a moron.
All the bowling balls, like, oh, she's dodging it. That trap didn't work out. Oh, wait, he's downstairs, and the nails are behind him. This is gonna end really badly for you.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Yeah. I loved the kills. I really did. I thought they were a lot of fun. And you're right. The scene, well, actually there were multiple scenes with the music happening and which made no sense with the violence that was going on. My brain did not know what to do.
Your brain was like, what is happening? In the shed, or that shed-like structure, that scene was genius. Yeah.
So good. I mean, close quarter battles, and him just, I loved when he would kick his mallet.
Yeah.
And it would flip back around, you know what I mean, so that he could pick it up again and just...
I want to see a training video, like, where like the John Wick gun fu, but I want to see the training video of him having to train with a mallet to get good. That would be amazing.
Yeah. It was, a lot of fun. Now, I didn't care for most of the characters.
No, I wanted them to die. I was hoping that they would die and it would just be the kid.
Yeah. and even the family members too. You know, I mean, like the sister, the
no,
mom.
wait, the guard. I was upset he died. The guard at the front house.
I was very upset he died because
Seriously.
And well, and I think that was some of the beauty and the genius of the film is that they give us some of these genuinely nice people and put them in danger, whether you kill them or not. I mean, like the little girl, you know what I mean? We feel for her. Her mom, we feel for her. Even the dad at one point, you begin to feel for him, even though, you know, he's a little bit sketchy.
Because he comes from this family, yeah.
Yeah. But the rest of the family, I mean, that TikTok kid, he needed to just have, you know, be curb stomped.
Did you stay for the mid-credits scene?
Mid-credit, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's like, why are you still alive? I still don't like you. There's nothing redeeming about the whole time through the film. Hi, I'm just here with you. Like,
there was no character growth and redemption of him or the sister, like his mom. It was just
like, so you believe Santa because you've seen. There's no faith there. And what if you're definitely not on that good list, anyway.
No.
Immediate. No, you can go on that list.
Yes. Oh yeah, that was a fun one. It'll definitely be a yearly watch, just because of how insane it was.
For sure, it's gonna be like in amongst the swapping out Home Alone and Die Hard, because there's basically the same film, but all three in one. It's great.
Yeah. Yes, way more bloody.
Yeah. What's next on your list then?
Well, I watched a documentary on Friday that came out, and it's called Senior. And it's about Robert Downey Sr., and it's put together by Robert Downey Jr. So it's him interacting with his dad. This is a unique documentary because now I didn't know anything about it, but Robert Downey Sr. was like an underground filmmaker. And so in the 60s, he made a lot of just counterculture and weird movies. I'm not sure that I would enjoy them because they did show clips, and I'm like, this just doesn't entice me at all. But so as we're watching the documentary, he has the idea that he wants to make his own cut of it. So he gets with the producer and
wait, what? Wait, let me understand this. He wants to make his own cut of the documentary.
Of the documentary, yes. So he's getting all of the
footage. Which version did we get?
Both. So we
that is weird.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, we really see, it's really the story that we watch of Robert Downey Jr.'s documentary.
Okay.
But interspersed in this, we get to see bits of Senior's view of the world and how he would direct and how he does things. And this is a very sad documentary. I mean, in one way. Okay. Because he's older. And so it's just, you know, and he's we learn things about his physical state, and it's all black and white, which is actually, there's a couple of color moments, but that's because we're watching like a clip of another film or something like that. But it's a really good insight into a father and son relationship.
Yeah.
There is a tragicness, I guess, to it, because if you know, like Robert Downey Jr.'s story, I mean, how he was, you know, addicted to drugs, you know, went into rehab and actually made a, you know, huge life turnaround. And now that's when the resurgence of his career, and just, we got Iron Man, we got Sherlock, we got all of these, you know, these great characters and performances from him because he became sober and he just changed his whole perspective. But his dad was the one that introduced him to these things at a very young age. And so there's a lot of baggage there to unpack. And the documentary, I don't think, is satisfying in addressing all of that.
Right.
There are attempts to, and I think that's also what brings in that tragicness, where it's just, it's like, that hurts the heart
Oh,
to
right,
watch
interesting.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's it's a little longer than you might think. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say we watched when I was in the States with you. We watched
Stutz.
What's it
The beginning
like
of Stutz,
compared to? Oh no, we actually watched quite a bit.
Oh yeah, more than half of it, right?
Yeah, we were just falling asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like that,
Right.
honestly. And there is a point in it. I mean, it's like, what is this movie? It's an hour and 40 minutes, I think. There is a point in the middle where I was kind of like, I don't know how engaged I am in this, because Senior is he's not wholly a likable guy. You know, and I mean, he's true to himself, which you can respect that. But if you look at him as a father, he's lacking some of the warmth that you would want from that. But no, it's better than Stutz. It's a lot better than Stutz. It's good. Way more. It's not weird like that, and it's not not trying to pull something over our eyes or be a performance. I think this one they're talking to the camera, and we know that it's a documentary. They acknowledge that it's a documentary. I mean, even at one point they show the camera crew and stuff. But you have a lot of real moments between Junior and Senior, and that's, I think, what really, it's powerful, because you get to watch. We even get some insight just as Junior talks to like his therapist, as he's trying to process, some of the stuff with his dad and everything. And so it's a good insight into him. This is, for me, it's a one-time watch. I would never go back to this. But from an execution standpoint, it's touching. Yeah.
Can't say it's high on my watch list. I'd have to be in the mood for it, I think.
It really is. It's got an overwhelming melancholy to it because of it's. I mean, there's humor in it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are moments where you chuckle.
I'd be surprised if.
Yeah, and their interactions are gosh, it's so weird. Because in one way, it's like a son looking up to his dad, trying to still gain some approval or some connection there. And yet at another time, it's two equals in the entertainment world, just having fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and there's moments where you can see love from the dad. So I don't want to paint him like he's just this cold person, but he's
everybody,
different.
how people do love is different.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Should I move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So my next thing on the best thing I watched this week, I'm just trying to get the right name for it, is Mingyat Zingai.
I don't know what that is.
Probably not pronouncing it right. Mingyat Zingai, that is Warriors of Future, a new Netflix film. It came out in Hong Kong a few weeks ago. Netflix bought the rights to it, and ever since I saw it was coming to Netflix, I've been super excited to watch this film. It's big. It's Hollywood blockbuster action with great CG. And the reason why the CG is great is because this director's his first time, it's like his directorial debut, but he spent like 20 years in the CG, like as a CGI artist or part of the team. So he knows his stuff when it comes to CG. And then we have veteran actors like in the industry. I don't know them personally. I've definitely seen them in a few films, but it's not like I know Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt, but these guys have definitely been around, so they hold presence. The IMDb synopsis is once again just ridiculous. It's basically...
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's so dumb. We've messed Earth up again, and as to combat that, because air has gone the way of being poisoned, basically, we make these sky umbrellas and we purify the air. But as we're trying to do that, because we have like domes and things, there's an asteroid that comes that has plant life on it, and every time it gets wet or has water, it expands and grows massively. And so we have two things that we're trying to combat, and then we add in a bit of exoskeleton action goodness, similar to Iron Man, but more like District 9 sort of exoskeletons. A team is sent out to get to the root system to stop the vines from growing, because there's a big storm coming, and if it gets rained on that much, it would just take over the whole city. So that's like your synopsis. A to B adventure. And the way they show the action, though, is so good. Like, it's fast-paced, but you get to see it because they do certain slow-mos, and it's not annoying slow-mo. It's slow-mo, so you get to see a punch that's about to connect with a robot's face. And I was just like, I loved it. Like, if you think Akira, a little bit like that, the kaijin, like a growing expansiveness of like the thing, you put that in with Ghost in the Shell, with the mechanoid robots that are after them. Like, there's definitely a sequence I was like, that's out of Ghost in the Shell. The tank robot on the highway is like riding along. I was like, this is brilliant. A lot of fun. And then some consequences as well. Although there is one kill that I'll just like, there's a guy bleeding on a desk, he's in the hospital, one of those, on a desk, on a gurney, on a desk. They just chucked him on a desk. He's on a gurney. He's bleeding out. And the guy says, yeah, put your finger on this and make sure you hold it, because otherwise, he's going to bleed out. Guy hears a sound, goes to investigate sound. The guy goes, I'm going to be fine. It's fine. I'm like, you're not going to be fine. You're going to bleed out. It doesn't matter because
instantly, yeah,
because something does happen. It's fine. But I was just like, come on. Did you see this?
I watched it last night. Yes. I'm less impressed than you are with some of it. There is that chase scene on the highway that goes on a really long time, and I was like sucked into it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was such a good, and it was emotional. That was the thing. Like, as we get to the end climax of that scene, which is probably, I don't know what, like a 10-minute scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it went on for a long time, which was a very exciting. Especially as the camera flies around and inside and stuff. I mean, it was so good. I was totally enveloped in that. And then we get to a very emotional scene after that. For me, there was a point where I loved the creature design. First off, I thought it was just
so
wrong.
Cool with the movements, the reptilian type of bug like. Very cool.
Yeah, just not okay at all there. There was a lot of this that reminded me, or that looked like cutscenes from video games.
Okay.
And which that's not really an issue for me. It was just sometimes when there was, like when these creatures were going through the hospital, I was broken out of some of it because like the texturing and the lighting on them, just, it didn't look legit. And that was a bummer to me. Like but not all the time, because there were other points where they're attacking and, and chasing and everything, where I was like, oh yeah, no, that feels great. So it's not like a consistent issue. It was just in certain parts there where I was like, that doesn't look great.
I had it on the projector. I don't know. Maybe my color saturation is out. I'll have to check.
Yeah, maybe, just a little bit there. But it was fun. I loved the idea of the plant life being the savior and the villain all at the same time.
Clever idea, right? Because you kind of want to let it do its thing, but also we need to live somewhere.
Well, and the fact that the giant rainstorm is coming, that urgency, so good.
Yeah, so it keeps it intense. There's a time scale to it the whole time. I wasn't even expecting like the bugs or the thing birthed from it. And it would have been fine with like not having it. I think it still would have been intense. We have that time thing. We had someone trying to stop them, so there's that double urgency anyway. And we know it's going to be tight anyway, because the vines are like Venus flytraps trying to, just like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, the plant itself is violent. We didn't need anything else.
I do have one caveat, and maybe they explain it in the movie, but so they're all flying down low trying to track this thing. Could they not just go like, that much higher and fly above it and just track it that way? Did they have to go in and amongst and down?
Yeah, because that's where it was going, and they needed to find where the pistol was, so it just kept going down, and I don't think that it got...
But they were tracking it digitally, right?
Yeah, but I thought that they had to have the scanner on it
Okay.
to do that, and so maybe they couldn't get to, like, the nooks and the crannies there.
Right. I was just like...
I mean, it would have been...
Why
it
using a helicopter
easier
thing? You use a plane or something that's smaller. Like, you can maneuver easier.
They were really big to be flying in between buildings and stuff like that. Yeah. So, no, I totally get that. But it was fun. I had fun with it. And definitely the emotional investment with the characters. I loved the four guys that are on the...
Yeah, they're great. A lot of fun. I did say I wanted 10 more minutes of backstory for them. I think I wanted to know, because there was a lot of history there. I just felt like there was more. And talking about, there is a prequel anime movie coming out. Yeah, there's a trailer. You can go check it. There's a teaser trailer, and it's coming out next year, I believe. So that stands to reason that, like, okay, they do have story, but they're just not ready to tell it yet.
Yeah, well, and I saw again, this is on IMDb, so take it with the massive grain of salt there. But what it had said was that the original version was longer. That was submitted to the approval process, I guess, that has to happen within the Chinese government or something, and then it was cut down. And the cut down version is the only version that's available or permitted to be shown anywhere. So it's missing like 10 or 12 minutes.
Well, maybe we will get that on the 4K, because in my comments they were saying that Netflix hasn't put the Dolby digital surround sound, and it definitely has that. Like at the cinemas it had that. And so they're wondering, for that reason, they're saying that they believe it's going to get a digital release then, which means that, like, you can get all the extras, the extended version, all on. That's normally where they show that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, we're getting a prequel anime, and we could get a 4K. So if you like this world, looks like you could get more.
That's cool. Do you know when the prequel anime is coming?
I think next year. Next year.
Oh, okay. So relatively soon.
Relatively soon, yeah.
Nice.
Did you understand it's like, just as the credits started, then they had a clip. So someone said to me that they're just establishing that humans could have a base on the moon. I thought it meant that home base was on the moon.
Oh.
Yeah, because I thought that was really random and out of nowhere. It was just out of context.
Yeah, I didn't. I was just more confused by it than anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So my last thing that I want to talk about. This is not new to me, but because I was having just kind of that mediocre week, I needed something that felt familiar, that I didn't have to be totally invested in, and yet I found myself once again wholly invested in the movie. But I rewatched RRR.
Hey.
And oh gosh, it's still like, it was still just as great this time. I mean, I'm blown away, the friendship that grows between the two, the action sequences, and golly, there's a lot of slow-mo in it. But but still, just loving it. The dance scene, like, still brought a huge smile to my face.
The one with the tapping. The tap.
Yes.
Dude, that scene is crazy.
It epic. I mean, it's a dance battle, and it's a lot of fun. The throwing of animals is just and motorcycles and the whole thing. But it was I wasn't sure if I was going to like be invested again, because it's it's over a 3-hour movie. we don't get Ram or Ram's his backstory until like an hour and a half in. I mean, we go so long before learning really about him or why he's there.
I like that though, because it makes us feel like he's the big bad.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, okay, I had this wrong.
Yeah, exactly. No, I loved it. I mean, it was so good, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna, I just wasn't sure if it was it just, did I just enjoy it because it was just that spectacle that first time? No. It, no, I had a blast with it. I'm hoping that it actually does get the nomination for Best Picture.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, but I really wanted to.
I think it might, honestly, because they've opened up the category, because you can have 10 nominations.
How wonderful would that be if it won Best Picture? I mean, it deserves it. It's so epic. The scale, everything is executed so well.
And it's one of those, though, that it also hit, what am I trying to say? Wow, that thought just totally. Oh, I know that it's not only creative from a visual standpoint or a filmmaking standpoint, and it's an excellent story, but then it also is a worldwide hit.
Yeah, it transcended cultures, which it often doesn't do.
And shouldn't that be like one of the pre-qualifiers?
Yeah, for sure. That should definitely get it. Even though it's world cinema, if this managed to go around the world, which is sometimes like Crouching Tiger did, right? And that's why it was nominated. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because if we don't put in some of those pictures that are non-English, well, then it's just an American award show.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's stupid.
The world is big. Yeah.
The world is huge. Yes. Yeah. And so, it's...
The Oscars, unless they're saying the Oscars are just for English-speaking people, you need to quickly diversify because people won't stand for it anymore. I mean, I'm so glad that they've decided to put the full, all the Oscars and televise it, because after last year's Krabappel, the nonsense of that, and they still haven't addressed, like, why are stuntmen and women still not getting awards? Are they not a big part of the process? Like, they are literally acting their socks off and taking the hits, and you're like, nah, they don't deserve an award. Like, are you serious? Every time we see Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt do something ridiculous, we know it's not them. They're I mean, Tom Cruise maybe, but Brad Pitt and other guys, they don't have the insurance to do it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It's a very overlooked category for a very, very, very long time.
Guarantee you, Keanu Reeves, the champions, he's the guys that do stunts with him, because they're the best in the world. So it's contentious. But RRR, I really hope it does. I wanted to win all the awards, if I'm honest. It'll be great. I just want to see just that culture as well be represented spectacularly for once. Like, even if it's not like the film that is the best out of all the films, it deserves the recognition because of how many also other films there are that have never got the recognition. Yep. I mean, if you talk about something like a cultural phenomenon, which it is, if you took Black Panther and what that meant for people, and you put RR up there, I would say it's the same thing. Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, and I find it really funny that India chose to put a different movie up for their best picture for international picture.
Seriously.
Well, but that allowed, though, I think that's great, though, really, because that allowed RRR to then be placed in Best Picture.
In Best Picture, okay.
Yeah, because otherwise it couldn't be. It couldn't be nominated, which I don't understand that. I mean...
that seems stupid.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's still available on Netflix.
If Hollywood made a film, and it was in Hollywood, but they put it with a different language, would it... Okay, so the Nordic film, Edgar's film, you're right?
Yeah, Northman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that can that not go for international and Best Picture then?
No, because it's not. I think it's because it's an American.
See, that's nonsense. Yeah, it's absolute nonsense.
Well, and that's actually kind of a weird thought. Then I know we're going off on a tangent here, but hey, welcome. There's a category for foreign language.
Yeah. According
to whom? Again, this becomes a very American-centric type of show, or English-speaking centric award.
Because if you are German and you're watching the Oscars, your language is German.
And so English would be the foreign language of that. Yeah.
It's nonsense. It's what it is.
Yeah, it's really, I'd never thought about that before until this conversation, but that's a weird thing for them to differentiate it in that way.
Yeah. Oh, well. Okay. So that is the best thing that we watched, all the best things that we watched this week. There's a number of others. Hot Skulls. I haven't finished. I just reviewed the first 3 episodes, and I'm loving the idea of it so far. I just hope it sticks the landing.
It's Turkish, right?
Yeah, Turkish. And Turkish can be a bit hit or miss.
I've had some that I love, and I've had some that made me scratch my head. So, yeah.
Quick things about why so far it's good. This could easily, post-apocalyptic, the way they've used the disease is sound. And so you think about the little things that they're playing with, like switching off the internet, because you can get the disease on the internet, which is a genius. So everybody's wearing noise-canceling headphones, and you're not allowed to talk to each other much at all, just in case the person has the disease called the jabber. It's a brilliant concept. But they doubled down on the goodness. In my viewpoint, is that they could have easily gone the teenage angst route and have a very young cast. They haven't done that. It's just normal people, various age range, different characters. Cool. And then we have the lead character who has, again, I just love the concept of this, aphasia. So he can't get affected to a certain degree with the disease because his mind, that the mental capacity is different to others. Sound doesn't affect him the same way. And so now we have this guy, we're rooting for him anyway because he's the underdog. He's gone through some hardship with a previous partner, and you see him have the ability to maybe have another relationship, but he's kind of put himself in a house like everybody else has done in COVID. We've all kind of become hermits. And so his mother is trying to force him out the door. And so we're rooting for him to engage with the world again. But the world is so much worse than it is in COVID because this government corporation is kind of used as an excuse to put people in different sections and control everybody. And so the police force is that much stronger. But then you flip it on this other side and you start seeing what the police force are going through. One particular guy, you see what happens to people when your family members are affected with Jabber and how they become, how they even get carted away, but then they get left in like hordes of people and they're just talking nonsense. I thought about a left-right shoe that my pink budgie had once upon a time because of a Marmite situation that I had with my poo. Like really sentences of stringed words together and everybody's talking nonsense. Yeah, exactly. and that makes you suddenly do you like how I just suddenly came up with
that was awesome because I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What are the words? Ruben's got the jabber. So I encourage everybody to actually give this a go. Nice. I can't give a full review because I haven't watched all of it. Sure. I really wanted to get into it, but I needed to sleep. But so far, it's really good. It's one of those. I was like, damn, Turkey, come on.
Nice. Quality. Well, this has been on my list, so I'm glad to hear. I'm going to have to binge that today because, that sounds like fun. Okay.
Yeah, anything else you want to talk about?
No. Cool. Everything else was mediocre.
Yeah.
For me, there was a lot that I watched, and some were disappointing. I got to say, Troll was disappointing.
Right.
It
wasn't it. I think because we have Troll Hunters, and we were hoping for at least that with a budget, but then they went Godzilla with Trolls, and it just didn't work. There was no emotionality for me.
It was just Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you laugh though? Let me ask you this. Did you laugh? I laughed. Where the soldier gives his Independence Day speech, except it's not nearly as impacting.
No, it was just awful. Like, shut up. Somebody stop him.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that they did that. I mean, it was just like, seriously, you're blatantly ripping this off at this point.
It was so cringy. I couldn't believe that was even in the movie. It's like a Hollywood producer came in saying you can have this money, but you must do the film like this. It just felt off kilter, like not authentic to what you would get, like Troll Hunters. I don't want to keep comparing it to, but actually we have such a low budget version, and it's so much better.
So much better, yeah. And I don't mind. I mean, I liked the destruction and everything, but you take Godzilla, Jurassic Park, that Independence Day moment, King Kong. It was just all of those movies with a troll instead.
I only cared about the troll, though. Also, the characters didn't have enough. I was like, or maybe the father.
Yeah. But dude, how sad was that end?
Why make us go through all of that to then actually just do that at the end and then give us the Godzilla ending, the original Godzilla from 2002 or 4, where we have the egg thing at the end? I was like, are you kidding? I mean, talking about ripping off.
Yeah. But good grief. You've given us, like, I want the lore. This is one of those that I want the lore of, the whole, when they look underneath the palace and the devastation that's shown there. And you're like, dude, that is
how
brutal.
Great would it have been if when he's being tortured, the troll with like UV rays, if he just broke out of all of it, decimated everybody, got to the bunker before they could hit the missile, and he wins and walks off, like just walking through the city, got his skull, and that's way better ending.
Yeah. It was just way too sad. It was just, I was like, and a rip off of all, it was just disappointing. So
yeah, very disappointing.
It's weird that we're ending the best thing we watched with something that's not the best thing we watched, but whatever. Oh, okay. Well, hey, we thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, you can always tweet at us at Best We Watched. Our Patreon, we have a bunch of different opportunities and levels of support. So for just a few dollars a month, you can help to offset the cost of this production, and that is greatly appreciated. We thank you for not only just looking, but for our patrons that we do have. We totally appreciate you, because you more than you understand.
It means a lot. Yeah,
really does. Excuse me. If you want to hear us chat about Willow, entertainment news, which there's some head scratchers this week, and some disappointing news there, and also just some of the things that are coming up in the next week that we're looking forward to, you can head over to wherever you might listen to podcasts, and we are there. You can search The Best Thing We Watched, or we'll even link it in the description below. But if you happen to listen, we would appreciate it if you could rate and review us, because that does help that out. And then also, please head over to you're already watching, but our individual YouTube channels. Like, share, subscribe. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris, with Movies and Munchies. And with that, hey, Ruben's doing gang signs and a dance, and golly, there's so many movies right there. We'll see you next week. Take care.